That's, I don't know, can you see it? That's the deck.
No, not seeing anything.
Do I need to do something?
Yeah, share screen.
Aha, okay. Share screen, right on. Okay, is it sharing?
No, it's not. Oh, there it is.
Is it good?
Yeah. Just have to make sure to be not on this page because it will create this multiple.
Got it.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so in this way, I can't see anything but the deck. So,
Yeah.
okay.
You're live now. I'm not sure if you see it on your screen.
No, I don't see it, but I will. I'll go with you. Thanks, Diana.
No problem.
Hello, everyone. We're into our final 2 or hour and a half, I guess, of presentations. I hope everyone's had a good event and you've discovered something you didn't know, and maybe you're in a better position to choose a school, find a scholarship going forward. So I'm going to present on the School Finder website, and we're going to talk a bit about I guess why you should use it, and some of the features and some of the tips and tricks on getting the most out of it. By way of intro, my name is Chris Wilkins. I'm the founder of the School Finder Group, which is the group putting on the CCUF fair today. I started this business really out of frustration. I was looking for a business school many years ago, and it was a little harder. The internet was just emerging back then, and there were a lot of CDs and books and other stuff. And it was truly very hard to find, what school to apply to and ultimately to go to. So out of that frustration, I ended up going to the London Business School in the UK. Great school, had a great time. Highly recommend education in general, and certainly if it's right for you, grad studies is a great experience as well. But when I graduated, I was going to stay in the UK and start another business, but came back to Canada and thought, there's got to be a way to make it easier to find a university or a college, and a scholarship, and ultimately a career. So we're going to talk a bit about that today. I have a little note here on my undergrad path. It was kind of bumpy. I started at Trent. I was young, took a year off, worked in the oil fields, came back, went to Western, which is a very different school from Trent. And that was probably too big for me, and I kind of got lost in the shuffle and ended up at Glendon, who are here today, incidentally, presenting, and they have a booth. Great school, sort of very liberal artsy in downtown Toronto, and quite small and intimate, and that was the kind of school for me. I discovered that, and I used that when I was looking for the business school I ultimately went to. So I was looking for a similar kind of feel. Anyway, you learn that, and so hopefully the services we provide can help you in your quest, and maybe you don't have to go to 3 universities to find the one that works. So the whole business was born out of that experience in 95. So we're now, I guess, 27 years old. Let's get started. So some of you may be wondering, should I even go to post-secondary, college or university, or on to grad school? And so this is a very often asked question. And so there is data on this. Stats Canada has put together lots of stats and data through the census and whatnot. And they have discovered that if you do go on and get a bachelor's or a diploma, as opposed to just a high school diploma, so if you go on to post-secondary education and graduate, over your career, which right now is really to 65, that's going to change obviously in the future, but right now it's to 65, you're going to make $1 million more than you would have made if you just got a high school diploma. So there is data that proves that it's worth it. I know the tuition might seem high, but that's only for 3 to 5 or 6 years, and then you're out, and ultimately you are going to make more money over your lifetime. But there's more than that. There's research that also shows that graduates from post-secondary are, more environmentally conscious, have a higher level of civic participation, generally are healthier and live, in a sense, better lives. So in short, this is a quote from I think the World Bank. In short, colleges and universities prepare you with relevant job skills and also prepare you to be an active member of your community. So lots of non-financial benefits as well. But it's tricky. As I mentioned, I went to 3 universities before I figured out which one to graduate from. Some of you may be in the same boat, or you're just going into or thinking about going into first year. 1 in 5, or roughly 20% of students, drop out. Again, this is from data collected over the last several years or many years. So there is a certain attrition, or there's a certain dropout rate. And ideally, you don't want to be one of those students that drops out. So doing your research helps. But doing your research is tough 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when you were looking at universities and colleges. To be honest, many kids just went to university without thinking. College is absolutely a great opportunity and the right choice for many, 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 many people. It wouldn't have been 30 years ago, or that's not the profile it had. On our website now on School Finder and Scholarships Canada, there are 53,000 program profiles, 5,000 school profiles, and 300 career profiles, and careers are changing every day, as we know. So there's a lot of options, compared to 30 years ago, compared to 20 or even 5 years ago. Lots of different options now. And there are many international, UK and US and schools from other countries that are now offering viable options. Again, 30 years ago, you probably wouldn't have gone or considered going out of Canada, but now it's a very viable option and something you should consider. So our hope is that our mission is that we can make this a little easier for you to sort through all these options and match you to the right program and school and scholarship and ultimately career. So I want to take a little tour. I'm going to Alt-Tab here, and Diana, you might have to help me, but I will Alt-Tab over here to the School Finder website. So can you let me know if you see the screen?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So this is the website, and I thought kind of a live tour makes more sense than just looking at a slide. So I have not logged in. This is the website. Everything on the site is free. That is, you don't have to pay, obviously, and you don't really have to log in to get to use a lot of the content. But we encourage you to log in. If you do log in, which we're going to do in a minute, your data is safe. We ask you if you want to subscribe to things. We follow all the Canadian CASL guidelines and European GDPR guidelines. So we're very careful about your information and won't contact you unless you opt in. But by logging in or creating an account, you can get filtered or matched results, which makes it easier to sort through the 53,000 programs I just showed you on the last slide. How do you figure out which ones you might be interested in? And if you log in and create an account, the system will help you. So we've really, the site's about schools, programs, careers, and some other resources. I want to look at programs right now. So what we've done without logging in to search, I'm a kind of biology guy. I love biology. I would have been a botanist maybe in another life. So I have typed in biology, and you can see that there are 1,100 programs that have a keyword biology in them. And I get the list of programs here in the middle. I can sort by different categories if I want, and sort by, that's it, on the field, but different categories if I want to drill down a bit. But more importantly, I can sort here. So if I say I'm interested maybe in, we'll do it by country. I want to see Canadian programs or schools. I am interested in bachelor. And I want co-op. So I want, when I take the program, I'm looking for programs that might give me the opportunity to make some money while I'm going to school. So co-op's a great opportunity that way, and also get work experience. So now my list has gone from 1,100, I think it was, to 114 results. So this is more manageable, but then I say, okay, well, maybe I want to focus on a province. So let's focus on BC. So now I'm looking for biology programs, and here are my options in BC. And the number is 35. So much easier to manage that. So this is sort of the start of drilling down or getting more information and figuring out where you might want to go. And you can really do that with any keyword. If you want to explore a little more, let's look at Thompson Rivers. So here's a Bachelor of Science. So here's the what we call program profile for Thompson Rivers. So I've got information. We keep these program and school and scholarship and career profiles updated. We try to touch them at least once a year to make sure they're current. And in addition to content here, we'll provide some action buttons. You can save this to your profile if you're logged in. You can request information from the schools. So if you're interested in this program, want to contact Thompson Rivers, there's a request info. You can compare to other programs. There's general information along the top on the university or the college, a description, and a link to their website. So if I click the link, I'll end up at Thompson Rivers, and it's all about biology, so I can get to the site, to the school site. And we really encourage, the profile is not the end of the story for any of us, right? When we're looking for where we're going to go to school next, it's sort of the beginning. And we encourage reaching out, so request info, and digging into the school, making contact with them, going to their website, because you're going to be just that much more informed. And you can create a short list. Again, if you log in, you can save this file or this profile, and then it's there. If you're kind of tracking it, you can kind of create your short list, and when you're ready to apply, go to the short list and look at what you've got. So yeah, and then in addition to the program information, we've got information on Thompson Rivers. So hopefully, again, this will give you some insight into the school. There are lots of links here to the school social and to their website. There are other schools to consider. So based on what other students have looked at on the site, these schools might be of interest to you as well, again, so that you might explore them. And then we'll talk about this in a minute, but there are events. So if you're interested in attending an event, you can see what Thompson Rivers has coming up. Yeah, so lots of great information, we hope, that will help you kind of get a sense of what programs, what schools ultimately you want to apply to. I'm going to log in now. So I will log in under my demo account. So it's welcome, Chris. I've logged in. And so now on my dashboard, I've got information that's tailored for me. So by answering a few questions in the login process, we can look at those here. There's some basic information questions. Who am I? date of birth, gender, current education. So where am I at? What are my grades? And the grades help for a number of reasons. We'll see in a minute. What's my interest? So when I create a profile, I say I'm interested in accounting or whatever else. And there are a number of different, I can add biology here if I want, aquatic biology. Let's add that. I'm interested in studying at the bachelor level, but it could be any level. These are all undergrad values. And my intended start is September. I'll change that to 2023. And I wouldn't mind, or I'm interested in studying in these different countries, and I can select which ones I'm interested in. And then we have some community questions. Where did you hear about us? That helps us in terms of where we're focusing our attention to get the word out about the site, and then some other general interest questions here. So if I'm happy with that, I'll go back. So these are essentially the questions you'll get when you sign up. And so in the process of signing up, you'll get a list of schools. So based on my profile, these are the schools that have programs that I might be interested in. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard here, and I can request information from them. I can drill down, I can click on them and get more information. But we ask about grades, and once you've got, you've added that to the system, there's some really neat sort of stuff here. So I've indicated, I think that my grades were 75%. So you can see here under entry grade, green is good, red is not good, and yellow is right on the line between good and bad. So I've got, some insight here into which programs I may or may not be able to get into. And this is probably really useful at grade 11 before you get into grade 12, your last year of high school. And if you've got reds here and you're interested in going to Brock for accounting, you might say, okay, well, 75 may not cut it. I want to, work towards an 85 for grade 12. So we hope that this gives you a little bit of insight into, what the requirements are and what you need to do in terms of your grades. We also collect tuition cost, length. Generally, if you see 5 years, it's going to be a co-op program, and indeed it is, or 4 years. Here are 2 co-op programs, and on through the list. So, and I can explore that if I want to click on the program link. Again, I go back into the program profile. I've got other programs to consider here, much like what we just saw, but if I click on all, I'll see this list. Yeah, so really, we hope useful stuff in terms of trying to identify which programs you might apply to, or which schools you might apply to through a program search and match. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the content here in the middle. So the news feed is content that we publish really daily that we think would be useful. So for you in terms of your search, and in terms of education and schools, etc. So here's an article from Queens. New financial aid programs will boost students' access to education. So that might be of interest. We've got something here. This is sort of a promotion thing. Westerns. I've been matched to Western. If I haven't requested information, this will show up, and I can click request info. And I click confirm, and it goes off to, I think it just goes off to Western. And then there's other schools here that I can request information from. We saw a minute ago. Yeah, so there's lots of, we hope, useful content that will help you, again, in terms of figuring out which schools you might apply to, but also just helping you with, tips. In this case, midterm study tips, stay motivated this assignment season. So some of these are seasonal. So we hope this might help you, whether you're at high school or at college and university. Let's talk a bit about careers. So in doing the profile setup, I've been matched to programs and through programs to schools, but I've also been matched to careers. So based on my programs of interest, there are 6 matching careers. I can take a look at them here. Actuary, accountant. So these are all obviously careers that relate to accounting, which is what my program of study was. A bookkeeper. So if you're interested in being an actuary, this is the career profile. So what do actuaries do? There's a little bit of background here. How do you become an actuary? And where can you study? So again, we're linking the career back to schools that offer programs that will get you into actuarial studies. And again, I can request info or click on them to explore them in greater detail. We've also we've updated this recently with earnings. So these I think are as of 2020 or 2021, so they're pretty accurate. So this will give you a sense of what the earnings are. Not all the job, and this is Stats Canada data. Not all the jobs, you don't earn the same amount in every job, obviously. And with an actuary, you might make 140 grand a year, which isn't bad, and you probably start in the 57,000 neighborhood. We've also added, again from Stats Canada, there's information here on the job prospects. So looking ahead, the number of seekers is 4,300. The number of openings is 4,000. So the prospects are not bad, but they could be better. If you want more job openings and fewer job seekers, if, in that situation, your prospects of getting a job are probably higher. Okay, I'm going to flip back to I'm going to flip over here. So I mentioned events earlier. What we're trying to do here is make it easier for you to find events, whether they're online or in person at universities, but also at the fairs that we're hosting. There's a Student Life Expo event, which is an in-person event for the first time in 3 years. It's back at Metro Convention Center, a lot like the Ontario University Fair, but it's open to all universities, and it's not nearly as big in some ways, so it's a little more manageable. But it's an in-person event, so it's coming up. Number of events today: MCPHS, Rotman, the business school at U of T had an event. And so what we're trying to do is provide information for you. This is all chronologically ordered, but if I flip over to the profile for the school, again, you'll see the events listed on the right. We're trying to make it easier for you as a student, parent, or counselor, or someone interested in education to figure out where you might want to go and spend some time with events. Another interesting kind of feature that we're building out right now is chat with students. So there are a number of schools. Brock and King's University College are here right now. We're working on getting lots more schools in here, but their feed from their ambassador program. So many universities and colleges have online ambassadors. And so you can speak to someone who might be from, interested in a program that you're in, or from a country that you're from, or any number of different things. And you can check them, find out who's there. Let's see, we've got someone in biosciences. So if I'm interested in bioscience, there's someone here from Brock that is in a master's of bioscience. So I can reach out and chat with her in this case. And so we're hoping that this is kind of peer-to-peer networking, if you want, that again will help you in terms of deciding what programs to go to, what schools to maybe apply to, but give you some, a leg up in terms of, speaking to students who we probably all relate to more than, the marketing people and all the other stuff. But, if you can communicate with a student, it's often a little more authentic and easier to digest and more meaningful. So that's under chat for students. Virtual tours. So this became really big during COVID, but I think it still has legs now, especially if you're in a city and you're interested in going to a school, across another part of the province or the country or outside of the country, a virtual tour is not a bad way to get a sense of what the campus looks like, what the school looks like. So we've embedded these virtual tours here on the site, so you can figure out or take a tour at your leisure and see what you think. And job opportunities. So we've added job opportunities a year or so ago. So if you're interested, this should scale to where you are. It's a feed from one of the job sites. And this will give you a sense when you're ready for full-time or maybe internship or summer part-time work. There's information here that might help you in terms of finding out where the opportunities are. And this will automatically scale to the city you're in. Discover is our article section. I want to take a quick look at the career quiz. I don't know how many have a good solid sense of what they want to go into. I know this morning in a conversation with a parent, she had a son who was interested in writing and video games, but not coding. So, where should they be applying? We've developed this with a partner, Roger Harp, who's done lots of work in this area. And it will give you a sense of, when you take the quiz, of where your strengths might be, where your aptitude might be. So in taking this quiz, my profile, or at least this profile, has a 93% fit in research sciences. So maybe I should consider those. If I'm interested at the university level in research, I click 32 schools, and I can see which schools or which programs they are. So research in ecology would be 29 universities. I click on 29 and I get the list of schools here. So the quiz gives you some food for thought. So it gives you a sense maybe of what you should consider, you may not be considering, and then allows you to drill down a little further and find out what schools and programs offer the right program to get into that career. Great. I think we're doing okay for time, Diana, but maybe I'll stop if there are any questions.
There are a few questions.
Okay.
So first one is, what advice can you give to people who don't have any ideas on what they want to study in university?
The career quiz is a great first start. Or first step. So I would suggest, and I would also suggest it's okay if you don't know what you want to study. I studied history undergraduate, and then I went on and did my MBA, and I got into software and technology and this business. Really, but I had no idea when I was 17 and went to university. I had no idea I would be doing this, 13 years later when I was 30. But that's just the way it went. So you don't have to know, absolutely. But you don't want to drop out. You don't want to spend, go to 3 universities before you figure out what you should be doing. So take the interest quiz. There are other quizzes too that if you're at high school, the high school may have like Myers-Briggs type quizzes. And then the other thing I would recommend, if you're not sure, is we work with high schools. So lots of grade 10 and 11 students have come through our organization as part of their high school program. And I know many of them came into, in grade 11, they thought they were going to do this, and they came into and worked with us for a term or a year. And, when you ask them what they want to do, or do they feel the same way? No, they have different ideas because they've spent time working. So if you get opportunities to work for a company or to do one of these career programs, take it, because it gives you some great insight into what you might want to do. So those are some of the tips, but you don't absolutely have to know. You can go into university and kind of do an open degree to start with, and then try to figure out what you want to do after. But the more you take quizzes, take tests, speak to people, network, and any kind of apprenticeship or internship opportunities are worth it. Okay, hopefully that helps.
Okay, next question is, how do you promote networking among students?
How do we promote networking? That's a good question. We've talked about, I just showed the chat with students. And so we think networking, this kind of peer-to-peer networking can be really powerful. We've talked about trying to open up the site to allow students who are logged in to communicate with each other. We haven't done anything yet, but there's talk of doing that. But I would say, like at an event like today, there are networking opportunities. You can click on a student's profile, or if you see them in a session, they ask a question, you can connect with them. And I would say, take that opportunity. We're doing a lot of in-person fairs. So at in-person fairs, take the opportunity to talk to other students if you're sitting in on a presentation. And indeed, we want to maybe facilitate more networking at these events, structured networking. But it's often it's kind of, as a student, it's up to you to make that first approach. Like if you see someone there's someone that's doing something you're interested in, or you've got a shared experience, just approach them. And the same with schools. And most universities and colleges are back to doing in-person campus tours and events. When you go on a campus tour, you may go on the tour with other kids and parents and whomever. Take that opportunity to network with them. Some colleges and universities offer sort of an opportunity to go and look at a class or sit in on a class. If you're sitting in on a class, speak to students you're sitting next to who are in the class, right? So things like that, I think, are really useful. Hopefully that helps.
Next question is, does it help me to compare programs from different schools?
It does, and there is a tool. I can go back to that. I had a matrix going when I was looking at business schools, and so I had all sorts of different let me go this way. I had all sorts of like spreadsheets looking at MBA programs at business school, which helped. So we've tried to provide that. If I go into a program here, and I can click compare. So if I select compare, add. So I'll add that one and compare and add another. So there is sort of an opportunity to do that here. And if I click compare, I'll start to see the two. Wait. Add, compare. So I've got two programs now. I can sort of see what they look like. Now, this may, I think it helps on a very sort of top level, but there may be other things you want to consider, like the size, when you're down to choosing, you have a short list. You want to choose a school where you're going to the fit works. So, 2 or 3 schools may have, 2 or 3 like great programs. They look great on paper. But at some point you may want to go and kind of just if you can, get on campus, meet people, talk to them. Does it feel right? Because that's so much of, the fit of the school. Does it fit you? Is important. That's why I went to Western. Western's a great school, but it was too big for me. I wanted a smaller school, and I didn't know that until I, tried 2 schools first. I don't think I went for a campus tour at Western, and maybe that's just getting to know who you are. But the more you can kind of get on campus, get a sense of what the school is, the better. So yeah, there's compare programs, and it's great on paper, but then take some time. You can do it by networking too, by talking to people, the school the school recruiters, the admissions people, the more people you talk to, the better sense you're going to get of the organization of the school. Okay.
Next question is it harder / better to first go to college then transfer to university, or is it better to go straight to university?
Great question. And I want to give a plug to ONCAT, who have a booth here. ONCAT is the Ontario group that does transfer program information. So, and transfer is a great way to get educated, right? So if you're interested in transfer, you have some education now, you want to see what it's worth, how it might be transferred, hop on over to their booth on CAT. Yeah, is it better? It's I don't think there's an answer for it, but in some situations, you may want to go to college first. You're not sure about university. You want to go to college. Maybe there's a college closer to where you live, and that makes sense. The universities are all further away. So you might do a year or two or get a diploma at a college, and you then transfer it to a university, and you will get credit. I mean, ONCAT and other organizations are worth considering if you're looking at that. But you will get credit. Conversely, some and a lot of people that I've worked with over the years have taken a university degree. They have a bachelor in whatever, and they want a post-diploma, or like a 1 or a 2 year college degree, because sometimes a university degree is more theoretical than it is kind of business or job related. So you kind of take you get a bachelor, and then you go and take something that's for a year, a post-diploma program that will give you experience in a specific area. So it happens all the time, and I don't think it's a bad thing. And yeah, so it depends on your situation. But if you're going to do it or thinking about doing it, check what with ONCAT or other organizations. ONCAT's Ontario. I think they do other out of province, maybe out of country mapping as well. But check with where you might. What's the degree you're trying to transfer? What's the roadmap, if you want to look at it that way? Okay.
Okay. Next question is, does the website include ratings of schools?
The website, philosophically, we don't want to tell you what school to go to, and ratings are very difficult and complicated. But ratings or rankings are really important. We understand that. So I think we do articles. So the World University rankings are here. Maclean's is here. Maclean's 22 is here. There are organizations that do ratings and rankings, and we'll post them here. So there's content in Discover where you can get the rankings. So if you want to see the student satisfaction rankings for universities, it's here. So we do post them here, but we don't. And I'll just say just a note on rankings. A university ranking is important. It is important, but it's not the program. And there are program rankings. It's just a caveat or something that you should remember when you look at rankings. The ranking is often for the bigger entity and not for the program. So, certain programs will have high rankings at universities that are low ranked, and certain programs will have low rankings, the program rankings, at universities that have high general rankings. So you just have to be a little careful that way. What the ranking will do, though, it helps in getting a job, for sure. It will play some role in that. But the overall university or college ranking. But yeah, we have the rankings. They're in the Discover section, but you can't search on them right now, and we encourage you to consider them, but that's not the main focus.
Okay. Question is, does it matter which university you get a degree from? Well, prospective employers tend to hire someone who got a degree from a larger, well-known university.
Yeah. So we hire a lot of people. To be honest, I don't know how much the university matters now. As it may not matter as much as it did 20 years ago. So it's often what you're looking for is skills. I think as an employer, I'm looking for skills. I look at the resume. If you make it to the next level, and we're hiring a bunch of people right now, and we might get 150, 200 resumes. You look at the level of education is probably more important than the school itself. So it's not as important as it was. Having said that, I went to the London Business School, which is one of the top 5 business schools in the world, I think. And when I came back to Canada and told people I was at LBS, the London Business School, a lot of them had no idea. They thought London, Ontario, so Western. They didn't understand it, but the London Business School is very strong in finance and consulting. So were I looking for jobs in finance or consulting, I would have been, employers would have said, London Business School, you've got the job, right? But if it was for operations or other things,
Mm-mm. Sorry, I lost connection there for a second.
yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. That was on me. It's almost time anyway. I don't know so I would say it depends, but it's probably not as important as it was.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one, or
I think we should, and I'm conscious of the fact that we have 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll try to answer the questions maybe in a follow-up if there are still a lot.
Okay.
How many are there, Diana?
I would say 5.
Okay, let's do 2.
Okay. This is a quick one. Can international students also use this site?
Yes, but we have a sister site called Study in Canada. We also, if there are any international students, we're doing an international event much like this, but really around international, for international students. But the international site's Study in Canada. So that's addresses your needs more directly.
And then another one is, sorry, just having. Does your site indicate whether AP courses are accepted for credit or correspondence university courses?
I think we try to track AP and correspondence, but I'm not sure it's something that's searchable or it's if you're not sure though, reach out to the university or the college. Again, they're more than happy to help. And even if you're not sure, like at any of the schools that are here at the event, you can ask them. Okay, I think, is that our 2 questions? We have 2 minutes to move to the next event. I think I'm going to give an event or a presentation on scholarships if anyone's interested. And we're going to talk more about the Scholarships Canada website. But great.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, everyone.